Hey guys, it's Drew again. So, another story. I don't know if I mentioned it in another video somewhere along the way or maybe in a comment, but I had somebody request to see a specific card that somehow I had mentioned along the way. So, like any card, especially the unusual ones, there's a story. So, I'm going to tell my quick story. See what you think. It's one of those things where you've got something in your collection. I've got a card room. Anybody that's ever come to my card room before, friends or family, other YouTubers even, a couple of guys have been here. Walk around, they look at the stuff, they see maybe my autographs or my 50s vintage or my Pee Wee Reese collection or whatever. And it doesn't matter what they're looking at, what they're familiar with, they always stop at this one case and they look at this one shelf, which is where my kind of unusual cards are, and they point to this one card and they say, what's the story on that card? So here's the story. The story of the card is I'm a manager of a retail outlet, and I have a lot of kids that work for me over the years, teenagers, high school, college age kids. And one of them, name is Eric, and he worked for me back probably 2006, 7, 8, back in those years while he was in college. And at the time, he was dating his girlfriend, who's now his wife. They've been married for a number of years. And when they were dating, his now in-laws, so her parents, were missionaries in Japan. I think they actually still are. And so she grew up in Japan, very familiar with the Japanese culture. He grew up here in the States, grew up out west in New Mexico. Actually, he's a big fan of the Rockies, a huge baseball fan, huge hockey fan. And he and I love to talk sports, love to talk collecting. Even though he didn't collect anything, he appreciated the fact that I did. And we just would pick each other's brain and just talk about things like that. But Eric had a unique, we'll say, outlook in life. And it's something I always appreciate about him. So he got to the point to where he was going to go to Japan to meet his future in-laws, and I think that's when he actually asked for her hand in marriage. And so this is a big trip. This is a big deal. He's got a lot on his plate, and while he's over there, he, I guess, decided, you know what, while I'm here making this life trip, I need to find Drew something. So he did. And this is one of those cards that, I don't know, I've never seen anything else like it, but it's not like I've ever looked. But what he got me was a card of an all-time great, apparently, according to Wikipedia. And what it is it's printed in 1998. I could not read the back at all because it's all in Japanese except for the person's name, and the person's name is Takanasado Toshishide, I think. Probably not. So I apologize if you ever watch this video, which I don't know why you would, but I just butchered your name. Anyway, but what it is a sumo wrestling card. And it sits proudly in one of my cases, and as you can see, the back, it's all in Japanese, and it's just super cool. I mean, it's super cool because it's unique. At least it's unique in my collection. It's really the only sumo card I have. And it's unique in almost anybody's collection that I've ever seen their collections. But it always stops people, like I says, they stop and they point and say, okay, what's the deal with this one? But I can't tell you how much I appreciate stuff like this. And it's not that this card has value. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I have no idea. I've never looked at a Japanese Beckett or whatever you would do. But anyway, it's just kind of cool that someone was out doing something and they stopped and they said, you know what, they appreciate this. I've heard so many stories now that I've gotten more immersed in YouTube of people sending care packages or like, oh, this would be great for so-and-so, or they pull a card and they're like, hey, do you have this one? And it's just that community. It's the community that I think most of us that are involved in this community really appreciate. While the cards are cool and while you know, the pickups are awesome, it's the cheering on of other people, cards that you may not care about a whole lot, but you care about the people that are picking them up. And I've watched a number of videos on you know, sports that I don't follow, and but I think it's cool, and I think it's cool that it's passionate for that other person, and I think it's cool when we think of others. So a couple of things as a challenge: if you're not involved in that part of the community, get to know people a little bit better. It's been awesome. I've been getting to know a couple of people offline, and as well as people that I've already did know before I started doing this channel, and it's just been great. So take some time, get to know some people, send them a care package. It's not about what you get back, it's just about what you give. It's where I started this whole channel anyway. So yeah, Eric, I know you're out there somewhere. I think actually you subscribe to my channel, even though you never comment. I still have it. It's still the envy of my collection, and people are still stopping and staring. It still gives me a smile every time I see it. So go out there, find somebody, make a connection, give them something fun, give them a story about why you care about them as a person much more than you care about the card as an item. And until next time, you guys, you be good.